What's up, y'all? It's Stay here, and today we're gonna talk about the number one reason why your training sucks. Yeah, let's get into it. So, clickbaity title, intro, all that aside, I really want to help you guys out with a important factor that a lot of my clients run into and they mess up with when we aren't working with each other. So just a little bit of backdrop about myself. My name is Day. You can call me Coach Day. I am a personal trainer and nutrition coach. I've been training going on 7 years, and I work out of a pretty high-end luxury facility in the DFW area.
Excuse me, I had to insert this, but the number one question that I get from them is,
hey man, when I'm not working out with you, it's just not the same. I don't get as much work in, it's not as effective. Ultimately, the workouts are kind of subpar or they suck, right? So how do you fix that? How do we navigate the training space? How do we play with things to make sure that your workouts are intense and consistent? Because when you're in the gym and when you're lifting weights, the most important thing you should be thinking of is how do you acquire the stimulus that is going to best serve you and your goals. That's going to be the word. I'm going to toss it around a couple different times because at the end of this as a whole, your weight training, your lifting, your resistance work, that is stimulus. And the better quality stimulus, the better quality outcome typically. Now, the number one, I would say, missed ingredient when it comes to effective training is this magical word I like to call intensity. Most people don't train hard enough, and there's a lot going on in the fitness community. It's like, yeah man, train hard, train harder than last time. For those of y'all who watch Greg Doucette, who stumbled on this, right? It's more than just train harder than last time. That's a good way to summarize it, but there are some things that you can apply regularly and consistently to make sure.
it's me again, y'all. Someone came in the middle of the video, so I'm about to up and move sections. Give me a second.
Sorry guys, I have to move locations because I am in my apartment gym. And
Literally just got done saying this. Shout out to y'all who are still watching.
I'm on a yoga ball. This thing is fun. Let's get back into the topics. So, 3 points that I have for you guys. 3 facets that actually change how intense and dynamic your workouts are. The first one is time. This includes the time in between your sets and the time during your sets, right? So magic number during your sets, let's start there. When you're actually doing the work, when you're actually making the thing happen. I told this to a client of mine, it's around 30 to 45 seconds on average. That's where you're spending enough time in your concentric, that's your positive phase, and your eccentric, that's your negative phase, to incur enough stimulus for growth. Hear that when I say that. So if you're bum rushing through your sets, oh my God, the weight's heavy, and then you throw the stuff off of you because it's heavy and it's hard and it sucks and it hurts, and it took you like 10 to 15 seconds, you got some stimulus, probably not as much as you could have gotten though if you had slowed that sucker down, and now you're spending 30, 45 seconds maybe scrolling on your phone, looking around the gym, seeing if anyone's watching you, trying to check your pump, yada yada, and you're not working out. So you're spending more time sitting than you are training. And that is one reason why your workouts suck. That flows right into the next piece. If you spend too much time resting, ideally you want to rest maybe a minute to 2 minutes max in between your working sets, which we just got done saying should be about 30 to 45 seconds. They can be even longer, mind you, but we'll get into that later. At least say 30 seconds, right? But you're spending now 3-4 minutes on your phone, looking around the gym, seeing if anyone's checking you out. You're checking other people out, and no one actually cares about how you look. Sound accurate? It probably is. So, big piece here, right? Time your rest. Keep it short, or as long as it takes for you to actually recover so you can get back to the work, the reason why you're in the gym, and then make sure that your work is effective by not bum rushing through your negative and your positive. Keep your negative slow, your eccentric the lowering phase, keep your concentrics quick and athletic, and then you'll get all the gains and you'll be happy. People will encourage you and tell you that you look good in clothes and then outside of clothes. All the reasons why we look at lights, right? The next piece, the next important piece that governs intensity, it's not just your time, but your tension, right? So I use this because it kind of covers multiple things, and it falls back to this negative and this positive, right? But let's keep this in the term of full range of motion, and then we have this new concept called partial or long length partial range of motion. Irrespective of which you're using to get the most out of your growth, you are looking for movements that incur a lot of tension on your target muscles. Let's keep this in layman's terms so you guys hear what I'm saying, right? If you don't feel it in the muscle you want to work, it's probably not working. Is that clear? I hope it was. I've had plenty of people who I've had do pull-ups, back work, and I'm like, hey, you feel it in your lats, right? You're like, no, I feel it in my shoulders. I'm like, oh crap, man, we've been doing this wrong the entire time. Why didn't you say anything? This is a back exercise. And if this is you, congratulations, you have something to learn. It's called mind-muscle connection. You may have to play with the movement a little bit. You may have to learn to feel different muscle groups when you're using them for certain lifts. And if you are not incurring that tension in your target muscle, it's a lot of T's, right? Then you're not growing and you're not stimulating the stuff that you really want to grow. So I encourage you guys, while you're taking time during your sets, make sure you're feeling the movement, feeling it in the muscle belly, connecting to the muscle, ensuring that you're using that muscle to do the work. And you typically have an easier time doing that if you get to our next important facet, which is load. So good, right? So it's like, hey, do heavy weights build big muscles? Maybe. Do light weights build muscles? They can. Is there something in the middle that's probably better? Most likely. And what should we be doing with our weights to make sure that we're getting the most out of our lifts while we're timing our rests and making sure our negatives are slow and making sure our lifts and our training sets are like 30 seconds to 45 or a little bit more, huh? What should we be doing with the weight, right? So the weight should follow this key principle, and this is what works for me. And I've candid, right? I've been working out since I was 14. I'm 25, about to be 26. And the more I've matured and grown in this whole weight training and lifting and like physique developing thing, the more I've learned that weight kind of doesn't matter, bro. Like I've broken myself off of like 10, 15 pounds before. And then subsequently in other movements, I've needed like 300 plus to do what I was seeking to do. And it was all in like relative scale to what muscles I wanted to work and my intention behind what I was lifting. But that's neither here nor there. What's gonna help you guys? Let's get back to that. Your weight is important, but it's not as important as you think. If you're doing and following rules 1 through 2 I said beforehand, and you're using a weight that you can feel it in the target muscle, and you don't have other muscles trying to kick in to help you move the weight, then the weight's perfect. And that's typically gonna be a little less heavy than you may think, because the goal when it comes to working and developing a muscle is incurring a lot of mechanical tension. There goes that word again, which is all to really say getting the muscle to contract hard and then stretch and feeling it in that muscle like really well, and solely in that muscle for a set amount of time to get the stimulus we want to incur hypertrophy and muscle growth. And that typically doesn't take a lot of load, does it? Keep it serious. I don't have a number for you guys. If I were to give you like benchmarks, if y'all wanted to take a note of like all your 1 rep maxes, which you could do, maybe like 65% to around 70. If you're really gonna push forward, 75, which is still kind of heavy for like really getting the volume out of things, which is something we're about to get into in our next intensity piece. But you don't need a lot of weight for it. Moderately heavy weight, moderate, is honestly gonna be your best. And especially if your only goal is to like look good naked, bro, please spend more time with less heavy weights, doing full range of motion stuff, extending fully at your joints and contracting fully at them so you can be in the gym longer, pain-free, get more results and look better, because that's the name of the game. Last bit is volume. One of my favorite things to work with. So volume, right? Volume and like hypertrophy and muscle growth, they're like twins. I wouldn't say twins, that's a bad word. They're like really good friends. It's like they went to school with each other. And this is like elementary and like middle school and like going to high school and like college, and then like they kind of like deviate when they go and like do different paths in life. But like for the most part, they're like really cool and they're really tight, and they have what I'm really getting is that they have a linear relationship to one another. Dang near linear. It's like almost you can get away with the more volume you do, to a degree, the more growth you can see. Now, don't take my words here and use them far out of context. You still have other facets like recovery and then training effectiveness and stimulus that actually dictate how well your volume accrues growth. But for the sake of your individual workout, let's just say this. You doing 4 sets versus 8 sets for your chest, 8 sets is probably going to be better for your chest to grow. Probably. More often than not, 8 sets is going to be better. So that in tandem with your reps. So the real terms that we're going to be using to dictate volume are your sets and your reps. Your rep scheme is going to dictate the type of load you use. And the more reps you have, the more opportunities you give the muscle to say, hey, we should be growing. And in tandem with the more sets that you have on top of these reps, even more opportunities you give the body to say, hey, we should be growing. We should be doing something, because the mechanical tension in the brain and everything we have going on is saying, hey, there's a force that is being acted upon us that is incurring stress and damage. And you have given us a reason to grow and develop. All the mumbo jumbo aside, it's important. Now, I'm not going to bore you guys with the rest, but those are some of the major facets that you could do to stop your workouts from being crappy, to make them pretty darn good and effective, dang near every single time. So, I hope that helps. If it did, please like, share, comment, subscribe. I hope you got some value out of this. Share it with somebody who needs it, please. It encourages me to make more of these videos, and they're fun to make. It's like I'm trying to imagine seeing you guys right in front of me, so I'm trying to like talk to you like you're right here and make this dynamic. Let me know if you like this kind of stuff. All right, I'm gonna stop nerding out because I'm literally in a yoga room by myself talking to y'all. So I'll catch you guys next video.